Hello everyone, my name is Elynn, and I thought that for the start of this project I would do, a bit of talking about the project basically, and just kind of, give like a setup, because I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to go about this project, but I think it's going to be fun. So, I am a massive fan of The Wizard of Oz, and I thought it would be fun to make, to make the world of The Wizard of Oz. Maybe, should I start with the Yellow Brick Road? I suppose so. I think this could be a very fun project. I did start this once in a survival world, but I didn't end up finishing it because the world got deleted before I could. I do not have access to world edit, by the way, so this might take a very long time, which is why I think this series is going to be split into different episodes. I don't know if I like this design. Well, without further ado, I'll turn my mic off now, and I'll probably end up doing a voiceover. So I started this build with Dorothy's house, of course. I was going to start it with the Yellow Brick Road, but I thought that seemed silly. I thought it seemed more sensible to map everything out before, putting the road in. So I made her house, and I used quite a few reference images. Sometimes it looks more white, sometimes it looks more brown. So it was really kind of like, just put down blocks and see what works best, rather than, let's make this completely movie accurate, I did change the shape quite a few times as well, because I just couldn't get all the right bits, and there's very limited photos as well of the house, so it was pretty difficult. I had to raise this roof eventually. As you can see, it's quite low there, and it's quite low on the side as well, so that's why I had to take it up. And of course, when she lands in Oz or Munchkinland, her house is all falling apart and all this stuff. So I added a bit of texture to make it darker, to make it kind of match the photos a bit more, because it just looked far too white, even though one of the reference images I was using, it was completely white. And I thought it would be cool to see if I can kind of make this side bit lopsided, because when she lands, obviously the house collapses. And it collapses, of course, on the Wicked Witch of the East. And this is the best way I could think to do the ruby slippers. If anyone has any suggestions on how to do it better, let me know. I'm sure there's some armor stand thing I can do, but I quite like the little item frame at the moment. And then on the side of our house is all foliage and stuff, so I just made a big bush. I put some light in the middle as well, because I ended up turning the game mode to peaceful later on, but obviously at the moment it's, got slimes, you can see. And because the leaves are so see-through, I added some pink and green concrete, because in Oz there's a lot of pink flowers, and I just thought it would be quite cool to have pink bits poking through the leaves. And then onto the interior of our house. Again, this was really difficult because there just aren't really many images, and there's not really a concise floor plan. A lot of it was just sort of creative liberty, and Uncle Henry and Auntie M's room is not in this because there there just wasn't space. But I quite like how it turned out anyway. I ended up filling that cauldron with water later on. You can see Dorothy's room. And then for the pond, it's really, like, the water is so turquoise. So I put some prismarine at the bottom, made a nice pattern just to make it a bit more interesting. And then for the yellow brick road, I didn't know what block to use. And I have this resource pack that makes double slabbed wooden blocks a different texture. And I tried the bamboo mosaic and it made a yellow brick. It was just perfect. And then I used red nether bricks for the red brick road that I ended up later on changing to mangrove, as you can see. And I have this data pack, and the resource for the data pack is installed later on, and it adds quite a few new tools. And one of the tools is, I believe it was a trowel that basically just randomizes the blocks in your hotbar, which was amazing. And then I started on the little houses and the little bits of foliage. Not everything is in exactly the right place, just because I think I would stress myself out if I did that. I copied the layout of the houses as much as I could, and then I kind of just, like, I placed the main ones that you could see in the photos and the reference images and the films, and then I just kind of did my own thing, just to pad out the area a bit, because obviously making a real life film set and then making a Minecraft world, completely different, and you got to think about different things. Like in Minecraft, you got to think about lighting stuff up so that mobs don't spawn. Whereas on a film set, you've got to light stuff up so that you don't have to use a Sony to get a good ISO. There are some like houses in, if you will, I guess they're houses. There are some in this that in Munchkinland that are slightly different. As you can see, this one with, you know, the different roof and the cool window and stuff. And then obviously because it's a 1930s film set, there's the backdrops are painted, which is quite cool, and I thought I could replicate that by kind of just building mountains. I didn't want to build just a big flat set because you'd be able to tell more in Minecraft than you can, you know, in the film. And so I just kind of used a few different green blocks to make some big hills, really. I didn't copy the exact shapes, I just kind of did what looked best in terms of size and colour and shape. It took a very, very long time. I spent hours doing this because, again, no world edit. I tried to download it, can't download Forge, CurseForge. I don't want to risk it because of all the viruses. So I'm happy building things by hand from now. And that little hole that I missed there, I did end up going back and filling later. There's so much foliage in Munchkinland, so I started on these trees. I added some mud brick walls as well into some of the trunks. I think into all of them actually. Because there are like these tall spindly trees, and I'm so bad at building trees in Minecraft. So I think they turned out okay. I think in context of everything, I quite like it. You know, I'm quite happy with this build so far. Obviously, there's still a lot to go, but I really like how it's coming along. Then there was some more floor building. And then I built this little nest thing. There's like a nest thing in Munchkinland where some like sleepy girls come out of eggs or something. I still don't really know exactly what that is, but I thought I'd make this. It's not in the right place, but I quite like where it was. There just happened to be like a little nook in the hills, so I thought that would be quite a cool place to put it. And for the eggs, I didn't know how to do like the green outside and then the pink inside, but then I thought copper trapdoors and pink glass, because the pink is kind of like tissue paper stuff, and I thought the glass is, you know, a pretty good Minecraft block to replicate tissue paper. I did add some flat hills just to kind of give a bit more dimension, even though it's, you know, it's flat, because obviously the hills that are 3D have a lot of shadows and they're quite blocky, literally. So I thought it would make it a bit easier on the eye and make it a bit more interesting with flat hills. And I do quite like how this looks. Now there's a little bit that goes past the red brick road and is like a little bridge over the lake. And this part isn't really seen that much, so again, a lot of it was just kind of guessing and like creative liberty and stuff. And it was quite fun to do. I kind of just extended just made it look like the rest of the pond. And then there's some yellow brick road filling. I wanted to do quite a good chunk of that while I was in the world because I knew that I would really hate doing it later on. And I did find a better way to do it. I basically used the chisel from my data pack and like replaced the dirt with slabs, and then all I had to do was go over and place one slab over it rather than two, and oh my god, it saved so much time. So that is all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and this is the build so far. I think it's quite cool. I'm sure in my next video I'll start diving into the history of the film, because obviously I feel like I can't really do a big build like this and not talk about the terrible treatment of the people on set and just kind of the bad things surrounding such a utopian film. So with that said, I hope to see you in my next video. Leave a comment down below if you have like any suggestions on how to improve stuff, because I'm sure there are many improvements I can make, and I look forward to reading them all.